Hi everyone, before we go into the podcast, I just wanted to say thank you so much for listening to this podcast. I'm super grateful for your continued loyalty and support. If you could do me a quick favour, if you could give me a review on Apple Podcasts, it really helps the algorithm and it will help this podcast go up the lists. If there are any subjects or topics that you want me to cover, then please do reach out to me on DM on LinkedIn, and I will do my best to find the best guest for that subject or topic. This is the Absolute Business Mindset Podcast. This podcast will give you insight into business. I will share my thoughts, ideas from content leaders and experiences from my life. And I hope you'll have a few aha moments on this journey. Today, I'm going to talk about this. So this is a very huge subject, and I want to cover it from three different angles. I want to cover it from the position of race, discrimination through race, and what people are trying to do there. I want to talk about women and the discrimination and the ceiling that sometimes happens with people with women. And third one is working class. There's just been a report that's come out about working class and workers. So let's take the first example of race. So race has become a really prominent discussion point, which is really, really helpful and really useful. And we're seeing that with events that happened in the US last year, we are finding that sort of racial intolerance is absolutely not approved. It's not recommended, and it's just really being focused in at the moment. And one way that footballers and sports people are doing is by going on the knee. Now, this, I think, is a really clear example of the value in it, and also the misunderstanding that can be with it. So I think that what the sports people are doing by standing on their knee is valued, and I think that it really does highlight racism and being against racism. But we're getting boos, and we're getting sort of people that don't think we should be on the knee because they think that it's something that is not promoting the right thing. It's promoting segregation. It's promoting separate. But something I did see, I saw an interview with O.C. Manuri, who's on the NFL program on the BBC, and he said he would never take the knee because he came from an African country and moved to America, where he was able to become an NFL superstar, and he won the NFL the Super Bowl twice. And he said he would feel that by taking the knee, he was saying that it wasn't that America wasn't a fantastic place to be able to reach your dreams. And I think that's really interesting, and that's what makes the sort of the booing of people taking the knee so layered and so complex, is because there are lots of things that motivate in people, but I think we all can sort of sit here or stand here and say that racial stereotypes and racial discrimination is absolutely the wrong thing. So let's move on to women and the situation that we've found with this glass ceiling that can sometimes be in for women. And so I've found that in some companies that I'm aware of, there is a very top-heavy on male, white, middle class people that are at senior levels in the business. But I would say over my period of working in corporate, that definitely changed and definitely evolved, and the role of a female as a leader has definitely changed, and there are more of them. They are making more impact than they've probably ever done before, and I think now that glass ceiling has probably been cracked. Now, there is still reports that women are paid less than men. Now, that's a very complex issue, because potentially some women have maternity leave, which leads to sometimes that they're not in the promotions and in the pay rises because they've missed because of maternity leave. There still shouldn't be that discrimination, and we should be working towards being able to have women earn as much as men do. But I think predominantly over my experience over the last sort of 15 to 20 years in business is that ceiling has been broken in some industries. In some business environments, it is working, and there is value in stopping discrimination. But I would imagine there are still industries that are being impacted by that glass ceiling, and we should be working towards stopping that and breaking through that ceiling. And the last discrimination I wanted to talk about was about social evolution, and what I want to think about is I read a report that that KPMG want to be able to increase the numbers of working class employees becoming partners and directors there. And they said, I think it's 30% by 2030 they want to be from working class backgrounds. Now, I think this is fantastic. I think this is a real intention to be able to use people that are educated, that are socially mobile and can become successful. And I think this is something that other companies should look, and I know that other companies are looking at being able to reduce the constraints on social mobility. And I know there's a lot of work being done in business at the moment to ensure that those people do, the working class people are able to become successful businessmen in corporate environments. So I wanted to cover those three areas. I think they are predominantly the three major areas where there is discrimination in the UK, probably across the world as well. And I think we should be all working towards preventing discrimination, and in those three areas, as long as business and businesses and entrepreneurs and business owners and leaders are working towards reducing the discrimination on those three areas, I think we should have a really prosperous and successful economy. So that's it. Thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate it, and I'll speak to you soon.